Hello and welcome to another episode of the e-commerce coffee break. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you got a handwritten letter? I reckon that's a while ago. And how does it work with e-commerce? That's the topic we want to find out today. Today, as a guest, I have David Wex with me. He's the founder and CEO of Handwritten at handwrytten.com with a Y, not with an I. Handwritten is bringing back the lost art of letter writing through scalable, robot-based solutions that write your notes in pen. So we're looking into something that will make a difference for a lot of brands, I reckon. So a little bit deeper into what personalization actually can bring to the table when it goes back to handwriting. So welcome to David. Hi, how are you today?
Good, Klaus. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
You're welcome. David, you have a very unique approach, and I really like this. Give me a bit of a background where you came up with that idea and where you're coming from.
Yeah, so prior to Handwritten, I ran a text message CRM company for 10 years. We were one of the larger providers of text messaging for the retail space with clients like Abercrombie and Fitch, Toys R Us, Sam's Club, Office Max, and then Auto Trader, which is a big car publication out here. So we were sending over 1 million text messages a day. And what I realized from that is we were kind of part of the problem. There was not only the text messages, but then people were receiving emails. You know, the average office worker gets about 130, 140 emails a day. They spend about 24% of their time managing their email inbox. And then now we're dealing with Slack and Twitter and Facebook and all these other forms of communication. I just had my Teams go off. I'm trying to figure out how to mute all that for you right now. But so yeah, we're constantly being barraged by multiple forms of communication, and it's just really an annoyance. And what I realized is what really kind of stands out through all this electronic noise is old-fashioned communication. When somebody takes the time to send you a handwritten note, not only did my employees read them, but they kept them. And they put them on display in their office. So not only was it read, but it was treasured. And I thought, gee, there has to be a way to automate this so that the average brand, whether it's a retailer or a realtor or an investment professional, nonprofit, whomever, could leverage this to send out authentic looking handwritten notes at scale. And that's what we do at Handwritten. So we actually use software on the front end to get the notes into the platform. So that's a website or Zapier integration, which is huge for our Shopify clients, APIs, all the rest. And then on the output, we actually currently have 170 robots. These robots are patented. We have 1 patent as of right now and a second one, which we should get today, and about 7 more on the way. Each robot holds a pen, a real Pilot G2 ballpoint pen. You can pick up the pens at Staples or another office supply store. And the robots write out notes all day long. These notes are written on the stationery of your choice, custom stationery just for your brand. And then we put it in a nice quality envelope, handwrite the outside of the envelope, because a handwritten envelope is a huge factor in open rates. And then we put a real stamp on it. So the entire product looks authentic from start to finish. And it really stands out from all the other communication you might get from a brand. I'm not saying this should replace, thank you for your purchase transactional emails or anything like that, but it should layer on top of that, I believe, as one more touch point to keep the customer, and upsell that customer.
No, I think it's a great concept, and obviously every brand wants to stand out, and that definitely makes a difference. I mean, I can remember, and I'm old enough, that in the mid-90s, you were happy when you say, I got an email. So you were bragging around, I got an email. Now it's the other way around. When did you have literally a handwritten letter from a person in your post box? Happens not that often.
Right.
So, and definitely a good way also, I think, to add a very personal touch to a brand, specifically when a brand is built around a person. And with that, obviously, huge difference to the competitor. Now, obviously, the advantage there is that you can scale this. I mean, a single person with a scaling business would have been difficulties on growing with that. How far goes the personalization into what you offer with your letters?
Oh, the entire thing can be personalized. So let's start off with the stationery. We print everything. We print the stationery in house. We have a full digital press, like you'd find at a high end print shop. That stationery is printed on thick cardstock. It can either be a folded card or a flat card to your specifications, completely with your logos, branding, photos, whatever else. There's zero branding for Handwritten, my company, on that piece. So we start off with a beautiful piece of cardstock and create your own stationery. Then we write on that in one of 30 available handwriting styles that we've continually refined and improved over the last 7 years. If you're not comfortable or don't like any of those handwriting styles, we can actually replicate yours. We have about 300 custom handwriting styles for specific clients. Those are only available to those clients. So they're vaulted away like that, or we could just replicate your signature. The note itself could be different for every single person that you send a note to. So it's not like you have to template out what you're planning on saying and making sure it's the same for every customer. It could be completely different for every customer. A lot of clients of ours, particularly in the e-tail space, do a blended approach where they'll have a snippet of static content followed by a recommendation paragraph that's I see you bought product A. People who like these types of things we think would really love these types of things. So there's a sentence in there that's very tailored to the end customer. And then it goes back to being kind of more of a tailored or a static templated offering. But by throwing in those very personalized bits, it kind of makes the whole thing feel that much more personal. As far as coupon redemption rates on handwritten notes, we have a large e-commerce bespoke suit maker. So they'll take your measurements online, send that to China, get the suit made and ship it to you. When they use our service for sending out coupons every year, they get a 15 to 18% redemption rate on those offers, which is about 5 times higher than their other coupons they send out. We have automotive dealerships that use us that prior to using us would send out printed mail, just letters, that they print on their laser printer. These handwritten notes have a 23-time greater response rate compared to the print mail. And when you adjust that for the additional costs involved, it's still 7 times greater ROI. So, we can customize this as much as you want or leave it static as much as you want, but it does really personalize and create that personal approach. We have some online retailers using us after a customer service inquiry. One of them is a furniture brand in the United States. And what they've found is people call them back crying when they get that handwritten note. I don't take that much credit for the crying. First of all, I never want to make anybody cry. But they call back crying, I think, mostly because of COVID. Because, we have to remember that there's a lot of very isolated people still that feel forgotten about. In this case, they're nesting at home with their purchasing furniture, but they don't feel like they have anybody thinking about them. And when somebody takes the time to write a thoughtful handwritten note, it really kind of breaks through and creates emotional ties to that person. We have other online brands that use us for win-back scenarios or apologies. So, if they screw up your order, they'll send you a handwritten note, apologizing and trying to make it better. What they found, one thing I often bring up on podcasts is we have one, it's a snack box company, and they send a snack box every month to your office. But if they screw up, they'll send a handwritten note apology followed by another snack box. They've found that those customers that they screw up with and do the win back procedure of sending the handwritten note in the additional box, they end up with a higher lifetime value for that customer than if they never screwed up in the first place. So then what they decided to do is, well, let's just screw up with everybody, create that win back scenario and rise the tide for all boats. And that's what they're now doing. So they're finding that it's a great way just to drive loyalty with their customers, which I find hilarious and brilliant at the same time.
I have never heard that the company screws up on purpose.
Right. These are snacks. So that screw up could be something like, oh, we delayed, your box was delayed 3 days. Who cares?
Right.
It's peanuts, literally peanuts in a box. So
What interesting approach. I mean, I completely can understand that the customer lifetime value will go up with that. And as you said, a personal note. I mean, if you get a machine printed letter, you probably will not look at it. But if you get something that is handwritten, that has a stamp on it and
Yeah.
really is completely personalized, completely stands out. And even people do not know that a robot is writing the letter, and probably
Right.
you will not really tell them. And you said you have all these handwriting styles there, and you can customize that. Does that mean you can take, I don't know, a scan from a person, from a business owner, and make this into your software?
Yes. Yeah. We've done that for about 200 to 300 people. It's a quite involved system to do that, though. So if you want your complete handwriting created, it costs $1,000. It's about a week of work on behalf of my developers, because they have to. It's not just like, oh, send me 1A, 1B, 1C. We have to create randomization in that font. We have to think about how you connect your letters, ligature combinations. So how do two T's, do you cross two T's with one crossbar or two? How does an E look at the end of the word versus the beginning of the word? All of those types of nuances create what's very much both an art and a science in one. So we do that quite a bit for Shopify customers and other e-tailers. There can be a bit of a unique situation where you might be working with a fulfillment house and want to include a handwritten note in that box. And that creates a hard situation, because marrying up that unique handwritten note to that unique order in a timely fashion can be difficult. We work with a music subscription that sends out vinyl records that does that, but there's a lot of brands that it's just too difficult. For instance, we work with a large mattress company that includes a handwritten note in every box. And the problem there is just getting those notes in the box in time. So what we've decided to do, instead of customizing every single note, we make the note more, we call it a doodle. So what we do is we don't replicate the handwriting of you at the mattress company. We replicate a drawing you do that just says, thanks so much for spending a night on our mattress, with like a little drawing of somebody sleeping on a mattress and the moon and thinking of cats. And we include this drawing in the box, and we've created 10 or 15 unique drawings, and then we replicate each of those. So you might not get a note that says, your name on it, but you get this little piece of art, which is very unique, and you can share it on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and other people will receive different, little doodles. So if, for instance, we bought a house, a second home, and we bought a bunch of mattresses, in every box was a different note, which was really cool.
No, that sounds good. You already sort of answered the question that I have. Is it just campaign based, so basically for marketing campaigns, or is it transactional based, or can you do both?
I think it's really transactional in the fact that we do both. Campaigns certainly around the holidays to drive Christmas sales and that type of thing. But I think it works best when somebody does their first purchase, or they join your loyalty program, or whatever that is. You trigger a transactional handwritten note at that point, and then maybe you continue on a quarterly, biannual, annual basis, something like that, where you're sending them a handwritten note every 3 to 6 months. That creates enough ongoing repetition to really drive brand reinforcement and really make the customer know you're thinking about them, and you stand out as a brand. So yes, I think it works better as a transactional, but certainly around the holidays, you want to throw in a big blast campaign out to everybody, having them come in or purchase in, your coupon code, whatever that is. I was an example here, not in retail, but we have a piano tuner that uses us, and after they tune your piano, they send a transactional handwritten note to you saying, thank you so much for having me in your house to tune your piano. They're only in your house once a year, so they can only have that opportunity to send a handwritten note once a year. But when they return to your house a year later, That handwritten note thanking for tuning the piano is often standing up on the piano. So not only was it read, not only was it kept, but it was kept on display on their prized possession in their, what I call the fancy room, right? Like the nicest room in their house that has their piano. That handwritten note is still there a year later, constantly reinforcing that brand. And I can't think of anything else other than pen to paper that would do that. And I'm not really here to push my company Handwritten. I really just think the overall activity of sending handwritten notes is quite important.
I agree. I think with all AI and APIs and everything that has become electronic in the last 10, 20 years, the human factor needs to come back into business. And
Right.
I think that's a really good approach to do so, specifically in these times when people are locked away because of lockdowns and all of these. The example that you gave is really heartwarming. So if somebody wants to approach you or wants to put this in place, what's the timeline from a first contact with you until they can get started?
Well, if they're looking to send a custom card, you can visit handwritten.com right away, sign up for free, and then start sending cards for as little as $3 a card or less. Those can go out the same day or next business day is our turnaround time typically. If you're looking for a custom piece of stationery, you can go on our website, pop in your logo on a flat 5x7 card and have that out within the same time frame. If you're looking to do something that's more of a full bleed folded card, that could be a 2 to 3 day setup time, because we'd have your designs, we'd send you the design spec, you'd fill out the design specs, send us the card, we'd create a proof and then print that. So there is a 2 to 3 day, but we're not talking months or weeks or even months or anything like that. To integrate with Shopify, if you're familiar with Shopify, you can do that through, or if you're familiar with Zapier, you can do it within a few minutes. So we do have clients that find us on a podcast or Googling or whatever, and then they're able to get up and running within just a few minutes.
Okay. One question that I have is when it comes to internationalization, obviously a lot of stores on Shopify are selling internationally, providing information in more than one language. How do you support that?
Languages, we handle all Latin character sets, so English, French, German, Spanish. We've done some Russian and some other unique characters. I believe we've done some Greek. However, we don't currently handle Asian character sets. Quite frankly, the reason being is when you type, typically, to my understanding, well, the US, Canadian, Western Europe markets are big enough for us right now. So we haven't focused on it. But B, it's my understanding when you type in a kanji character set, what you type is more restricted than what you would write pen in hand. But what we would replicate would be what you type. So the end result would be strange for the customer, because they would get a note written in pen, but as if they typed it, and it would not translate. It would create a poor brand experience. So we've just steered clear of Asian character sets, but pretty much everything else. I mean, we've even discussed doing Arabic and Hebrew and stuff like that. So.
Okay. But you're sending worldwide. That means you're sending.
We do send Yes, we do send worldwide. The issue is postage often. So we can either mail from the US with an international stamp, but then it says it's from the US. Or what we've done in unique situations is we've typed up or written out all the notes, sealed them, did not stamp them, and then we send them to the end customer, often in Australia or wherever else. They stamp them and drop them in the mail. So we have done that on occasion too.
Okay, no, that sounds all very good. David, one golden nugget that you would give somebody to start with, content-wise or layout-wise, what would you recommend for a start?
I would say test. People often think handwritten notes are a good idea, but they never execute. And it doesn't need to be difficult. It could be going on our website, uploading a spreadsheet. If you don't want to do a Zapier integration, that's quite easy. There's videos on our website that walk you through it. or you could just literally sit down with 5 employees and write out 20 notes each. You have a 100-person test right there and see what that does and the results you get from that. So again, it's not about using our service. It's about thinking about how to stand out from the competition using pen and paper. And there's, there's local, in Europe, there's providers of a similar service like Pensaki, Wunderpen, and RoboQuill all do this as well. So, any of those could help you with the service.
Okay, now I really like the idea, and I would like to see more merchants on Shopify or any other kind of platform using this and bringing the human touch back into life. Where can people find out more about? Or we already set the website. Any other platforms that you're on the webs?
Handwritten is very active on YouTube. We have our own channel there. And again, we're HANDWRYTTEN. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. But really the best thing to do is visit handwrytten.com, go to the business tab at the top and request a free sample pack. That pack will include samples of our stationery, samples of our writing, pricing information, everything to get you going. And it's obviously free.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll put the links in the show notes and everyone can go straight there and check it out. Thanks so much, David, for your time. Really insightful. As said, I love the idea and would love to see more people using it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Hey, Klaus here. Before you leave, I have a question for you. Are you a Shopify store owner and you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, and not sure what to do next to grow your business? Do you struggle to convert traffic into sales and turn website visitors into buyers? Do you want to have direct access to a mentor who can assist you with your store, your strategy, offer, marketing, sales, and anything else you might need in your business? Then I would invite you to apply for my Get Conversions program, where I show you how to remove the guesswork out of growing your Shopify business and create clarity to optimize your business for maximal growth and profit. This is an application-only program. To apply, go to klauslauter.com to learn more. And finally, please do not forget to subscribe, like, and comment. It's a huge help and allows me to reach more people with this channel. Thanks in advance, and until next time at the e-commerce coffee break.